What's good, guys? LM7 here. This time with a comparison. We're starting off those for the new 2016 sets to their slightly older models. We're just going to work, up from the lowest set number to the highest set number. So the first comparison in this little season of comparisons is the X-Wing fighter comparison. So the T-70 X-Wing from episode 7. See something. Okay. So obviously the two ships are Poe's X-Wing fighter that came out last August, and then the new Resistance X-Wing fighter, which is technically also Poe's too, but the basic version of it. So price-wise, they were both $79.99. So no price increase, which is always appropriate. And the new one actually has more pieces, but that's because of that little sand thing that the flame trooper is igniting with Lure Santeca. So, well, I guess the other X-Wing, the black one, came with the little cart and ladder. So, but anyway, the black one has less pieces overall as a set. That I do know. So, that out of the way. Those little additional things don't need to be compared because they're irrelevant. But let us take a look at some things. So, I'll start. Let's jump in. It's kind of hard to decide where I want to start showing things. Okay, so let's see if I can focus. There we go. Alright, so looking at the front of this X-Wing, you can just see all the way up to where the minifigure sits. Just looking at some of the pieces real quickly. And then I will put this one down. So other than the color, which is apparent, there is no differences between this section and the other X-Wing, and even their, I guess I can show the undersides too. There's the underside version of this one, and then we'll go to the other X-Wing, and it's identical. A little harder to see because of the black, and the entire X-Wing is black, so that might be, it might be slightly harder sometimes to see, but I will make sure I try and tell everything. So what I'm going to do now is show the inside. So there is our minifigure, and there's some stuff behind him. And the only difference between this one and the older version of the X-Wing, even the clip is the same behind Poe, but the only difference is this piece right here, and it's not a fire extinguisher. So that tiny little section right there is altered very slightly to include a fire extinguisher for the newer X-Wing, so he can put out the fires by the flame trooper. And that's mostly just because LEGO likes to include little things like that. That's not accurate to the movie at all. So, going next, where do I want to look at next? I guess we'll just finish looking over the top side of the model. So if we look at the wings like this, still a very sleek ship, obviously. And I really do love this version, the T-70 version, much more than the T-65 in the older movies. But looking at this side of the new X-Wing, they are both identical. Again, same engine, well, not really. Actually, the engine builds are slightly different, and just because of this, I will show it. So, if we get a little closer and zoom in, right here, starting with this dark gray piece right behind the engine, they use a half-size version of this 2M Technic beam, right where my pinky was. So They use two of those, and then in a second I'll show you that they only use a single version, which they could have done originally in the newer one. So they improved that slightly. And the order of these engines, the pieces used to build the engines, the round bricks, are slightly different. Full brick, plate, full brick. And then if we look at the new one, it goes plate, full brick, full brick. So this plate is in the middle on the older one and slightly pushed back. But that black piece right before the engine is now a singular piece instead of a split half version, which they use 8 of on the old one and only 4 of the full pieces now on the newer one. So that's a slight difference. That's like a super minor difference that you probably don't even care about that difference. But just for the sake of the comparison, I am going to show all that lovely fun differences there. So I'm going to open up the wings, and we're going to take a look at the wings. I guess we can look at the underside first before we do the wings. Nothing crazy there. And then if we look at the underside here, I believe it's identical. I believe it is. And I was correct. It is identical to the new one. So now let me open the wings here. And now looking at the wings, they both open the same way and they both use the same feature and rubber band pieces to open the wings. So if I put both fighters like this, you can see both wings open. Same wingspan, same opening position, same way to lock the positions. Me just looking by myself without showing it super close to the camera, the Technic pieces that keep the wings in this position are built identical in the same way, just different colors obviously. And that's pretty much the main differences between each one of these sets is the color. So that's super apparent, and that was the same thing when I compared the black X-Wing to the old white X-Wing, is that the color was different. But obviously those are two different versions of the same ship, but this one is obviously upgraded. So we can close the wings now. And the wings are built identical, I believe. Yeah, because they're just mirrored. Anyway, that's just me looking again, just so I don't miss something. But flipping the X-Wings from the back, we can see if there's any differences there. There is one difference in the fact that this engine block does come out of the newer one, and the older one does not have that. So here's where actually one of the major build differences is in this set compared to the older one. So if we look at the back here, you can see you have two studs facing us, and then a solid brick, a plate, and then a round plate with this same little gear. And then looking at the newer one with the piece in, we have two bricks, no studs on them this time. They decided they don't need it. And then they used a round plate, another brick, some more plates, and then another round plate at the very bottom. So that little back section is actually different, and in return, that little function, let me focus back out. This little function here, this engine block comes out. The old X-Wing doesn't have any of these parts in it, not this little knob or, the engine block being removed, obviously. So the inside of this X-Wing, which would be, it's pretty hard for me to show that actually. But the inside of this X-Wing is actually built very different than the other one. There's grill plates where in the older one it's just solid plates to make everything connect together. So we can zoom back out. Now, one thing, there's two more very minor build changes when it comes to the two sets, so I will show that first. So for whatever reason, they decided to use this engine piece on each of the four wings. And in its own right, it looks very nice. And, you know, I like the little groove, the engine printing. It's more like a groove in the plate itself, but that makes it, I don't know, just gives that nice little detail. I do like that little detail. Well, in the newer one, they actually decided to take and change the piece to the slightly different version of the sloped brick that they used. And obviously it's not black, and it's not so much an engine piece anymore as just a sloped brick now. So that is a difference. A very minor difference. That one might be actually easy to see just by looking at the boxes. Like if you're in the store and you have both X-Wings next to each other, you could probably tell that one. But from looking at the rest of the set, there is, just on the box wise, there's no way to tell some of these other differences. But the last difference that I've noticed, and this goes with a little bit more towards the back section that I already showed with the engine popping out, this kind of goes with that, just the way that they built the middle section. So, if we focus back in, this plate right here, this diagonal plate, the dark gray piece right here by BB-8, that is actually different in the new one, and I'll show you how in just a second, but I just want to show you what it looks like on Poe's X-Wing, or his Black Squadron X-Wing, instead of his regular X-Wing. But now on the newer one, it is a tad bit different. It's one of the new diagonal plates that's only too long, so they changed the plate and then added just a regular plate right behind it. So the overall thing, it's not as sloped anymore, and but it's still the same length and everything. I just forgot what I was going to say, so I apologize for that. But that changes. That's a change due to the fact that the body structure of the X-Wing from the black one to the blue one was altered very slightly to accommodate the moving engine brick. So they had to redo the side panels. I mean, in general, the side panels are the same things, except there's different studs on the old one to allow that bigger piece to be used in general. But that is the comparisons of the X-Wing. Basically, if you want to go to an extent, they're carbon copies of each other, except for the engine block thing. That's the only huge difference between the two X-Wings. Both same cost, both around the same piece count, same length, width, height, all that fun stuff. And both are fantastic sets. I mean, if you can afford both of them, then obviously, why not have both of them? Personally, I would love to have the black one and then two blue ones, but I don't actually have money to do such a thing, or the space to display a scene, so like that. But anyway, that is the comparisons of the X-Wings. Next up is going to be the A-Wing comparison, and then Darth Vader, TIE Fighter comparison, and then the Turbo Tank and the ATTE. So stick around for those if you're curious. And yeah, thanks for watching. The exclusive review of the, I said that all kinds of dyslexic, the review of the exclusive set, 75-158, the Pelta Cruiser, or Rebel Combat Frigate, whatever you want to call it, will be out eventually. But that said, it's not coming out on the 1st, as far as I know. If it does, I'll get it, and then we'll go from there. But hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative, and you can now decide which X-Wing you want if you can only pick one. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next comparison.